Hello and welcome to another episode of the Park Hopper Show. And I, of course, am Paul, and I'm back. And this week, my guest is Chris Adams. And I come across her, like most of my guests, on Instagram and just seeing the things that she does on there. And I thought she would be a really good fit because she is very forward about herself, about her personality, about her personal life. And she's very good on camera talking and helping out with Disney. So, Chris, welcome. And could you tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Hi, Paul. Sure. So thank you so much for having me.
Oh, yeah.
I am, as you said, I'm a Disney vacation planner. My platform I'm most active on definitely is Instagram. In my personal life, I have a husband and I have 5 kiddos. So my kiddos range in the ages for sure, all the way. My oldest is 16. Then I have a 13-year-old. Then I have an 11-year-old. I have a 7-year-old. And then we take a pretty big jump and I have a 17-month-old. So it is a busy house. My 17-month-old also has Down syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
So we're navigating the new, right, with each kiddo. With each kiddo, parenting is different. And now we're learning the ropes of parenting a kiddo with extra needs. So that is kind of what we're doing. I was a Disney kid myself.
Mm-hmm.
My parents took me to Disney about once a year when I was a kid, my whole life. So it was just kind of natural progression for me to become a travel agent. And now we take our kiddos all the time. So I'm located in Indiana, but we go to the parks. I'm in the parks quite often. So considering I don't live nearby.
Well, that's that. I was going to say, I saw one of your posts. It said you are a veteran of more than 100 Disney vacations. Is that what? I mean, my mind was blown.
Yeah. Well, I've lost track at this point. I'm embarrassed to say. I really wish that I would have kept closer track, but my 16-year-old, and I don't remember her number exactly. My 16-year-old is at 20 plus trips. So, and she's only 16 years old. So, So I started going as a kid. I think my first trip I was 9. I was 9.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went every year after that as a kid and then just became a Disney adult and started taking my own kiddos. So, all my kiddos have been quite often, and so have I. Yeah.
Wait, I mean, you got to start them out right.
That's right.
That's one of my earliest memories was we went when I was 4 years old, and I may have told this story on here before. And, you get those things in your head where did this memory come? Like, I can't really place it. And it turned out it was Dumbo's Flying Circus, the ride.
Mm-hmm.
And years later, we got on it, and my head went, oh, this is from my childhood. And this is my shelf full of childhood junk behind me. And I have the ticket still from when I went as a child with one day still on it. And every few months when one of those stories comes out where they say, I went to Disney with the old ticket and they let it go.
Mm-hmm.
One day when tickets are $500 or $600, I'm going to cash that one in. I'm buying low and selling high on that. So
that's right. Hold on to it.
Well, so this year, it looks like how many trips have you taken this year? I saw, It's hard to tell because there's so much video. And I tell people, if you're going to the parks, even if you go once a year, but especially if you just go once a year, you got to video more stuff in the parks because that's what I think on Instagram, especially people see it. There's fun little memes, but when I see something in the park, that makes me want to be a part of it. And then I see you there, I'm like, God, I want to be there too. I want to be there so bad. So how many times have you think you've been?
FOMO is real, right?
Oh,
especially with Disney and vacation in general. So we started out the year, we typically, our family trip where we take all our kiddos and we all go together used to be in September.
Mm-hmm.
And that I still love September. But it was the start of the school year and I homeschool all my kiddos. So we also could kind of play with that start of the school year idea, right? But it was so hot and the more kiddos we had, I was wearing a baby, right? So we changed and we ended up in January. So now our yearly trip is in January. So to answer your question, we started out the year in January, or with the trip in January, and then I don't think I went back until August. I had a agent trip in August that was just kind of the top producing agents, just a few of us from our agency. So we did August, and then about 5 or 6 weeks later, my son turned 13, and it has become a family tradition that we take our kiddos when they turn 13.
I love it.
So, yeah. So, and it's just my son and I, or just that kiddo and myself. So we did a mother-son trip then in September, the end of September. And then I am scheduled to go back to do all the Christmas fun in December, mid-December.
Well, I will be watching that closely because I love the Christmas stuff there. And that's the one season that we've never been. We always end up in the summer when it's so hot.
Yeah.
But to your point, September is, we would go late August or late July or August. Seems like every year, and it was always so warm. But if you have the ability to do it, our new favorite was January. My wife, she went back into teaching, but for the 2 years that she didn't teach, we have good friends that were Disney planner, and we went with them in January, and the best. The lines are low, the temperatures are nice, and I mean, honestly, you can't beat that. And we took our kids out of school because we said, they're little one time. Who cares?
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. I used to be an educator. I taught elementary school for 10 years. So, no, I am totally so, and you won't hear many educators say it, but yes, take kids out of school.
Right.
Which are they going to remember, right? Are they going to remember that family vacation? Or are they going to remember that week's worth of math lessons that they missed? Probably not, right?
Yes.
Yeah. We all have gaps in our education, and I don't think 1 week on vacation is gonna.
No, not at all. And I mean, it sounds like almost you're an educator now. You sound like you have almost a whole school full of them at your house. And so those people, they were homeschooled, those kids, so they could go whenever. And so we joined them, and they just started regular school this year. And it has been hard on the mom who's the planner. Like, we can't do all of our trips because we can't keep pulling them out of school every 3 months. It's too much. So
yeah.
But that trip you took, that's when I first reached out. You did the Halloween with your son, turned 13. Did you do?
Yes.
Yes.
So we didn't do the Halloween party.
Okay.
But we did lots of the Halloween stuff. And he, 13-year-old boy, he is, right. So the trip when I took my daughter, when she turned 13, was much different. Somewhat different than when I took my son, right? My son is ride focused. So he was like, we got to ride all the rides, not once, not twice, right? We got to ride all the rides till we can ride them no more.
Oh, man, yes.
Yeah. So, we did Tron a lot. We tried to work the system and get on Guardians as much as Guardians would stay up and running for us, right? So it was really ride focused, but that's what he wanted to do. That, and we always make sure that they get their restaurant or their snack, their food that is their favorite, right? It's extra special because when you have so many siblings, you don't get to experience Disney by yourself, right? There's a lot of working pieces throughout the day when we take all our kiddos, right? Who needs to go where? Who's tall enough for what? Who, we just kind of cohesively make some decisions, my husband and I, and logistically, you just have to do it. So when it was my son, it was a whole lot of fun and it's super special for them. They get to choose where they want to eat, all the fun things. So, yeah.
Are you saying the boy was different than your oldest daughter when she turned 13? Did she have yes.
Yeah.
I get it. My daughter also turned 13 in September. So it's getting fun. It's getting fun. She is very much the Disney kid. And I mean, I'm not going to let her hear this because she'll say, where was my trip for 13? So,
That's right.
Well, so talk about that. You're a family of 7 and going to the parks. How is that getting everybody, especially, and I mean, we didn't notice this until just lately because she's always been a good kid, but they're just starting to get a little bit on their own. They hit the teenage years and they're just a little bit more independent. They don't want to do what little sister wants to do. I only have 2, but that gap is really starting to show. So how do you navigate 4 kids with a mind of their own and a baby.
Yeah. I mean, logistically speaking, I mean, there's a lot. I have to think who can ride what, who's tall enough for what, who will want to go on what. We do ask ahead of time. However, we have the, we have the benefit of having been multiple times. So they also mentally know we don't have to do it all and get it all done, right, in a 6 or 7 day trip, right? They also know the reality that it won't happen. We won't get it all done, right? I always have notes in my phone when a trip ends, what we want to do on our next trip, right? What we didn't get to or what somebody asked to do multiple times that maybe we didn't get to multiple times, things like that. I do kind of work. I have done the new lightning lane system, but I have not yet done it with my whole family. I did it on our agent trip when it was just myself and some other adults in August. Then I did it again with my son. But we have not had to navigate it yet with everyone. However, I did Genie Plus with all 5 of my kiddos and my husband multiple times. And that was one of those where I would just select who I thought was going or who was tall enough, right, to ride certain attractions. And then I would move the other kids and another adult over to another attraction, right, at the same, and try and marry them together at the same time so that we could split off. Everyone else had something to do, and then we would come back together again. So that's usually, my husband and I usually divide and conquer. There are a few things that are non-negotiables, and we'll do rider swap on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Even though it does take a long time to do rider swap, right? We know to build that time into our day. And there's certain attractions that I really, like I want to do Guardians. So I will wait and we will do rider swap on things like that. So, and the benefit, even though it takes some extra time, and I tell this for my clients who are traveling with little ones, right, who have to do the rider swap, although it takes some extra time, it will benefit your kiddos because they get to ride more than once, right? Mm-hmm. So when you rider swap and you go up to the cast member at the attraction, right, and you tell them we're going to rider swap, they will ask what kiddos want to ride the second time with the parent that's going to ride the second time. So even though it does take a little bit of extra time out of our day, some of my kids get to ride the attraction back to back, and that's fun for them. So
if you want to just explain that real quick, because up until our last trip, that was something that Disney did that we weren't even aware of, the rider swap. Because
oh my gosh.
It was, my kids are not riders. That's one of my greatest failures as a parent, I think. There's a photo of my oldest, and so she was 11 at the time, and she went on Guardians and came out, and she looked like her whole life has flashed before her eyes. There's a picture of her, and she's smiling, but her eyes are not there. She's just, and never again. And when she was 4, she's on Tower of Terror, having the best time, and now she's grown out of that. So we're not used to that, and we didn't know it was a thing, but we went with our friends who were Disney planners, and they said, hey, let's do this, and then we can go on it. And then these kids, they had several children, and they were swapping them out. This is a great system. So can you just explain that real quick for people who may not know?
Yeah. So, this is also excellent in the special needs community as well, mm-hmm. right? So it doesn't have to be height restrictive. So generally you think of rider swap as you have kiddos that are not tall enough, have not met the height requirement for an attraction. However, that doesn't always have to be the case. If you have kiddos that do not want to ride the ride, and they stay with the parent, and that parent then, of course, has to stay with that little one. So let's use my 17-month-old, for example. She obviously cannot get on on Guardians, right? Anything with a height requirement or things, right? And a parent has to stay with her. So I stay with her. However, before anybody even steps on the attraction with a lightning lane reservation or even without a lightning lane reservation, we approach the cast member that is there at the entrance of the attraction. And we tell them we want a rider swap or rider switch. There's different, verbiage that is used. And the cast member then will scan our magic bands. They will ask who's riding second. I will let them know I am riding second. I'm going to stay with the baby first. And then my husband and I are going to swap. My husband's going to stay with the baby. I'll ride second. And then they usually ask us for 2 kiddos that want to ride with me the second time, and they will scan their bands. So all the kids get to go with my husband, except for the baby, right, who's not big enough. I stay with her. And all the kiddos will go with my husband. Then he gets off. And then those 2 kiddos who band were scanned and my band as well, then they will ride with me and we go. And my husband and the other kiddos wait. Sometimes we will get an extra magical cast member who will let all my kiddos ride again with me. But typically it's only 2 kiddos will get to ride again.
I mean, that's some of that Disney magic. And when people are like, why is it so expensive to go to Disney? Or that's why, because that's just one of those added bonuses that you don't get at a normal theme park. And that, a thing that I didn't know existed until last year. So
yeah, that's right.
And it was so smooth. It was scan. It was on. And I'm like, this is amazing. And their kids, were living it up because it was 2 boys with a little sister, and the little sister said, no, thank you. So then the boys are getting ride and having the best day ever.
Yeah, that's right. And I indicate it, when I have families who have little ones, I will indicate it on their, I kind of do an itinerary that I send them with a whole packet full of information before they travel. And I will indicate also on that packet are rides in which I've kind of flagged as most popular attractions that will have a longer wait time. And then I kind of star and flag those attractions also that have rider swap available. So that way parents know, that way they don't have to worry. Oh, I want to ride this, but, little so-and-so can't ride it. What do we do? And it's indicated for them. And then they know just to ask the cast member.
Or just, if you're on the fence about having someone come and plan your trip, like this kind of thing it's a no-brainer, and it's free, and it's the most amazing. I know I harp on it every week because it's always travel agents I have on here, but I don't understand why because we've gone the non-booking route and then we've gone to have someone else do it, and it's so much easier. And now you're giving this bonus stuff to help out. And it's a magical place, but it can be overwhelming in a second if you let it.
Totally overwhelming. And even if it's not your first trip, it changes constantly. So something will trip you up. I mean, even if it's your, 50th trip, sometimes, I've been over 100 times and there's still certain things I don't know. I'll be honest, right? And something will trip me up. However, I know where to go and exactly what to do quickly in order if something trips me up, right? I know about the chat feature in my Disney experience. I know to run to a blue umbrella at guest relations and how to explain to them what has happened, right? Things like that. Guests don't know that. They don't even know where to go in park if they struggle. And so on that itinerary, I always say, here is all the information I can give you ahead of time. I have loved being your one point of contact, right? Even if you've been 50 times, you will think of something in the planning process. And instead of having to call Disney and wait on the phone lines to speak to a representative there, you can shoot me an email with that quick question and I'll be back to you within an hour usually. And so having that one point of contact, even if you've been 100 times, is still so nice. And then having that guide and like you said, all the bonus information with little tips like rider swap to just make everything go so much easier. I don't understand why you wouldn't do it.
Well, so I used to do wedding photography and videography, and it was one of those things that the videography was such a hard sell for people, but then after the wedding, they were always, I wish I'd had that done. And it's like Disney, it's too late. Once it's over and you're like, well, I could have had this service and now I regret it. So, cool. You got to get on it. So I have been, I think 15 times, and like you're giving me, blue umbrella. What is a blue umbrella?
Yeah. Right.
So what is that?
Right. So throughout the parks, every park has a guest relations office, right? When you walk into Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World, guest relations is right there at Town Square, right? Or City Hall, right there by the fire station. when you walk in Hollywood Studios, it's also right there when you walk in. So every park has a guest relations office. That is where you'll go if you lose something, right? Lost and Found is located there. If you are having problems with your lightning lanes or your My Disney Experience app not working correctly, if you, if you forget to load tickets on for the Christmas party and right? It's different things. Guest relations can basically answer any question you'll have. However, Disney's gotten real smart and realized that if you're all the way in the back of the park at Toy Story Land or Galaxy's Edge at Hollywood Studios, and you run into an issue, you guests do not want to traipse back up to the front of the park again, right?
Right.
That's precious time. So instead of traipsing back up to guest relations at the front of the park, they have placed little kiosks around the park, and they have blue umbrellas that hang over the little kiosk area, the podium where cast members are standing. So those cast members will stand at this podium. They have tablets as well, and they have park maps. They have some other guides, information there for you. And you can stop at any Blue Umbrella guest relations location throughout the parks and ask them anything that you would need, anything that you would go back up to the front or that you would call Disney for any other reason. Those cast members under those blue umbrellas will be able to answer your question.
Well, I had no idea. So that is wonderful. And I mean, you brush by that, but I think one of the things that a travel agent does well, and I always tell people, every time you do it, put it on Facebook or put it on Instagram, let them know the getting on hold and talking to Disney. That in itself is worth any kind of, even if it wasn't free, that's the service that, to me, there's nothing that makes me crazier than being online or being on the phone and just waiting.
Yeah, amen. And I took lots of screenshots of my wait time the last few weeks with both hurricanes coming through. That is when my job is not fun whatsoever, right? It's so fun to plan amazing vacations for families. But then when disappointment sets in, right, when things have to change or panic sets in that you have to check out early or you have to shift your whole trip by a couple days. And October is my busiest month. Fall break has it's become this huge thing. When I was a kid, my dad would take our family for fall break, and it was crickets. There was nobody around. No, I don't think many school districts did fall break then.
No, we didn't. We did in Kentucky. So
yeah. I don't know if Indiana was one of the first to jump on board the fall break bandwagon. I don't know, but we used to go, and there was nobody around anywhere. Now, fall break is my busiest season. I have so many clients. And what happens is it coincides with hurricane season. Sometimes, right, that doesn't make for a very fun situation. And I spend lots of time on hold for my clients. But I will, this is a tip. This is a huge tip that I have texted clients while they're there before. And I've had to do it.
Listen up. Big tip. Coming up. Big tip. All right.
If you do not, I hate to say this because the cast members at all the parks and on the cruise ships are what make Disney what it is. They are amazing. They are what make the customer service above and beyond. They are the magic. However, we all have bad days. We all do not know the answers to all the questions. So if you come across a cast member and you have a question and they are a little less than magical, or they are unsure of the answer they are giving you, find another cast member. So find another Blue Umbrella or go to another guest relations. Or if you use a travel agent services, you won't be calling Disney yourself, right? I'll call for you. But that's exactly what I had to do in the middle of the hurricane. They had lots of people answering those phone lines. I waited 2 and 3 hours to finally speak to a cast member on the other line. And I had a client who checked out early, and they told her at the front desk she had a not so magical cast member at the front desk. And she texted me and I said, that's all right. Go back down there in a few hours or or just move over to another line and just say, I would just like to try and speak to somebody else. And sure enough, she did. They told her she would get her refund immediately. She did not. So then I said, I'll call and check on it. I called. I could tell that the cast member on the other end of the line was a little unsure about the refund. So we waited to see if it would come through. It did not. So I called again. So when I finally called, third time's the charm, right? So I finally did get through, and that cast member was wonderful. And she said, I'm sorry, Miss Chris, that it was not, the refund was not given, but travel agents have to call and ask for the refund on behalf of their client. And I said, oh, I have. I said, this is my third time. And she said, I'm so sorry. And she admitted that, every cast member who answers the phone, and everyone doesn't know everything, right? We all make mistakes. So, but I know, right? I know enough to speak on behalf of my clients, right? I'm not, and my client didn't have to do any of that for herself. I did it all for her. So
yeah. Well, I've said it on here before, but I know you don't officially work for Disney. Like, that's not what the travel agents do, but I always consider your job as like cast member zero. Like, you're the first person that is the Disney experience when you start booking a thing, because if it starts bad with you, it's going to put a damper on the whole trip. But you being that person that has all the knowledge is great.
Yeah.
And to that point, like, all the people at Disney, if you come across somebody who's not so magical, you notice it because it's the minority for sure. Like, in most, I'm going to get a real old man here, but just going out to regular stores and things, you almost expect the customer service to be lacking. But
yes,
when it's somebody at Disney, you're like, that really stood out, because everything else here is everybody else, all the other people I've come across have been so helpful. And if they couldn't, they'd find somebody else friendly. And everybody has bad days, but they do a really, really great job there. So another thing about being a travel agent, and you said things change so much, it's hard to keep up with. What are your thoughts on this new multi-pass, the
Premier Pass?
The Premier Pass, yeah. What are your thoughts on this? Because I've seen it all over the board.
Okay. And I was talking in my stories on Instagram the other day about this. I ended up saving it to one of the highlights, the little highlight bubbles on my Instagram. I have a highlight bubble, I think, called Lightning Lanes, and I saved it in there. So that's right. You will see everything from one end of the spectrum to the other on people's feelings on this, right? So it is not, I said it a million times when I was sharing on my Instagram. It is not for everyone. However, I am not one to tell you how you're going to spend your money. So, right? Do we all go to Disney and spend our money on things that don't make a whole lot of sense? Yeah, we all do, right? We spend so much money on certain dining experiences that to other people wouldn't be worth it. The number one question I get as a travel agent is it worth it? People will ask me, this dining reservation, is it worth it? Lightning lanes, is it worth it? I am not one to tell you if it is worth it, because what is worth it to my family may be very different than what is worth it to your family. So I am not going to tell you how to spend your money. The price tag for it is high. It is not for everyone. Will my family use it? Probably not. I know how to do the park so well that we will not need it. That's just not where we will choose to spend our money. Is it a luxury? Yeah. Is it a luxury some people will choose? Yes, because if you want to get all of Magic Kingdom done in a very short amount of time without stressing with scheduling, running back and forth, scheduling things in your phone, being on your phone all day, then that's the way to go, right? Then it will be easiest for you to buy that Premier Pass for the day and do it. So it's a luxury. Does the math? No. Right? It does not. But it definitely is it's something there's different things at Disney for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't tell you, what I will offer it to my clients. I will educate them just like I do with everything else. And then I will guide them and give my opinions and the facts attached to everything and let them decide what's best for their family.
Well, I mean, far be it for me to tell anybody what's worth it at Disney World, because at one point I thought this satin hat that I bought back here was something that I'm sure spent too much money on as a child, but it's funny to have now. But
Yeah.
I have some friends and clients, and they live here, and they go 4 or 5 times a year. They're annual pass holders, and that's their big thing. And the dad, he's big business. Like he coaches other people in things, and his whole deal is don't tell someone else what to do with their money. You'd be surprised. Your job is to help them if they want to spend it. You shouldn't try to be that person who's trying to squeeze every dime out. You should be the facilitator of what they want. So I'm glad that you said it that way. But to him, also, I think it may be worth it. People like him, because they go at least once a year. They have a tour. They do the VIP tour, and
Sure.
that is not cheap. And this is way cheaper than that. And
Yep.
it's one ride. It's basically like a lightning lane for every attraction once a day, right? Is that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So the way I explained it kind of when it first dropped was it is kind of the middleman between lightning lane, multi-pass and single pass,
Mm-hmm.
and VIP tour guide. It's kind of the in-between, right? So VIP tour guide, you can park hop, you get, you can park hop easily with it. You get premier and reserved seating for fireworks, shows, all those things. Do I book that for clients? Yes, I have clients that choose the VIP tour guide to do the ultimate luxury Disney vacation, right? It is the ultimate. So this Premier Pass you cannot park hop with it. So you have to choose your park that you're going to purchase it for. It's priced based on the park that you're purchasing it for. And then you can enter the lightning lane queues at any of the rides in that park without any type of schedule. So with multi-pass and single pass, right, you have to schedule that hour return time, and you have to abide by it. With the new Premier Pass, you could totally just do the park in order. You could start over in Tomorrowland or over at Adventureland and work your way around Magic Kingdom, doing it totally in order, riding the lightning or using the lightning lanes on all the attractions as you go throughout the day.
I mean, it sounds pretty cool. Off the top of your head, do you know how many attractions in the Magic Kingdom, how many there are?
I don't.
It's pretty high.
It is high.
And are there 40? Do you know?
I was going to say between 35 and 40.
Okay.
I have park maps in this basket up here behind me. So I could get it out and count, but I would say between 35 and 40.
I wanted to say it was something like that. So if you really break it down, it's $10 a ride, which is cheaper than most of the, lightning lanes. Although, I mean, you're not going to need them for all of them, but
yeah,
it's not. I mean, that's why Magic Kingdom is so crazy expensive, that one, because there's just more things you can do. So if you really break it down like that, it's not terrible, but it's not for me, for sure. I am All-Star Resort. I am, quick service meal. I am the cheapest. I am no one's ideal client when you're trying to book somebody, because I am trying to go for as cheap as possible. So I saw that price tag and someone's going to have a great time. It's not going to be me, but
I know. No, we will. Well, and it's per person.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Right. So every time something like that comes up and it's per person, the price tags, right, just show up in my eyeballs as a family of 7, right?
Oh, yeah.
Now the baby, it doesn't require anything yet, so we're paying for 6 people. We pay, but even when I cash out with our, it used to be Genie Plus, right? But now when I cash out with our lightning lanes, multi-pass, single pass, it will be expensive. It will be interesting to see, I will plan it all out. I have, a spreadsheet I use, but I will kind of plan out before I purchase them the 7 days in advance for our trip in January. We have it now. We're staying at the new Polynesian Tower.
A lot of
and in January. So I cannot wait. And we'll take all our kids on that trip. So that will be something that we will really have to think about because the price tag when I book those lightning lanes will be expensive. And that's just for multi-pass and single pass, right? It's something we have to budget. So we will not be using the Premier Pass.
I think there are enough people to do it, and it will cause enough. I don't know what people. It's not being forced on you. They're not saying your ticket's an extra $400.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to cause enough traffic to the lightning lane that it's going to make anybody's day longer because, at that price point, they're going to sell some of them, but they're not going to sell 10,000 a day. It's not, either. And this is the thing I always get on, and I don't want to get in the weeds here, but I feel like the parks, a lot of times, they're really tentpole-ing Disney because it seems like their movies and their Disney Plus, a lot of that seems to be bleeding money here and there. The prices for these shows, they keep advertising to get canceled. I'm like, God, they lost $250 million on that. Well, just the Disney parks, we can just have about a $400 a day pass. Sounds good. And then that's how they're financing the whole deal. So,
yeah.
All right. So you went you did not go to the Christmas or the Halloween party, but I've seen you already posting things about Christmas. Are you excited about Christmas? Is that your holiday?
Yeah. So I am definitely more of a Christmas person than a Halloween person. I have been to the Halloween party. That was 2 kids ago. No, just 1 kid ago. So we had 4 on that trip. And no, I think we only had 3 on that trip. 3 kiddos, and we did the Halloween party and we loved it. It was so much fun. We dressed up, got all into it, but I am definitely more of a Christmas person. So I have tickets this year to Very Merry Christmas Party. Another agent and myself will be going down to Orlando and doing the Christmas party. We're only staying 2 nights. But we will do all the Christmas, all the fun Christmas things, take all the Christmas videos, see all the trees, the gingerbread house, and do the party. So I'm excited about that.
Well, there's still time to book those, correct?
Oh, totally. So
so tell me about the Christmas stuff because I love to hear all the things going on with that, especially that gingerbread house. Make sure.
Yeah, that's right. So the Grand Floridian's gingerbread house is the size of a small house. It is unbelievable. And it's done. It's ready for you to go in and take your pictures. They actually have cast members that are inside the Grand Floridian gingerbread house. And they sell cookies and little bakery items inside the gingerbread house. So you do not have to be staying at the Grand Floridian to go and enjoy that gingerbread house. You go, you take your pictures, you buy your little treats, your kids. It's so pretty and neat. How many people can say they've seen almost a life-size house made of gingerbread? So that is super fun. There are also other gingerbread displays around other resorts. Boardwalk is one of my favorite. Boardwalk, Beach Club, Yacht Club, those resorts back there on Crescent Lake are one of my favorite. And Beach Club and Yacht Club have, I believe it's a carousel made of gingerbread, like a Christmas carousel with horses. And it is made of gingerbread. So there are Christmas displays. You could spend a day, 2 days, just more than 2 days even probably, going to the resorts around Disney, right? There's 30 plus resorts. Not all of them. Now, here's a fun fact. I have stayed in every single one except for Wilderness Lodge. And we have been booked there, but a hurricane ruined that stay. Yeah. So we didn't get to stay there, but it's on the list. We'll definitely get there. So there are over 30 resorts. Not all of them do a gingerbread display, of course, right? Mm-hmm. But they all do get decorated for Christmas. Some of them Animal Kingdom Lodge has this amazing tree wilderness lodge, and you don't have to be a guest staying at those resorts. So you could do Christmas and see all the Christmas things without paying for a park ticket for a day, right? And just ride around all the Disney transportation, which is also fun. My kiddos think the Skyliner is a ride itself, right? So you could use Disney transportation and just go see all the Christmas stuff at the resorts alone.
That is the best. That's my favorite. Like, I made a post right before we started that my wife is a bully, and she said no Christmas decorations until Thanksgiving. So in my office, I've got my lights up, and I ordered my Magic Candle Company Disney Christmas smells this morning. So this office is going to be real nice pretty soon. That's my favorite time. So what is the Christmas party there? So the Halloween party, everybody knows it's, they have the special parades and everybody dresses up and they do candy. What is the Christmas party there like?
Yeah. So the Christmas party is also, everything is big. It's all out, right? There's a beautiful parade. So just like the Not So Scary Halloween parade, the Booty parade, there is a Christmas parade. It shows twice during the party. It is amazing. It also snows on right on Main Street. There is a stage show. I believe it's Frozen. Anna and Elsa and Olaf and crew do a big stage show throughout the night. There's the fireworks show as well. And then there are special characters all throughout the parks. I mean, you could attend multiple Christmas parties and still maybe not see all the characters. Santa meets and greets under the gazebo. I believe last year he was under the gazebo near Sleepy Hollow restaurant over in that area. And then there are other characters. There are some characters that are special just to the Christmas party, and you can't meet them on property elsewhere. And then other characters, like the Fab Five and some of those, Stitch they're dressed in their Christmas gear. So it makes for fun pictures, and things like that. Then they're in place of trick-or-treating at the Halloween party. At the Christmas party, you can make your way around to cookie stops throughout the park. So you can go get cookies and hot chocolate. I believe maybe other warm drinks and things like that around the Magic Kingdom. And you can just get your sugar level up real high. Eat all the cookies.
Let's normalize that instead of for trick-or-treating at home. Let's do cookies in the neighborhood. That sounds amazing. Yeah. So that is the best. Do they still do Jingle Cruise and the overlays? Okay.
Yep. So then there's also ride overlays, and those can also happen during regular park hours.
They just do it during the season.
Yeah, that's right. So the Jingle Cruise is up and running now. So Jungle Cruise has been overlaid. What's another one that gets overlaid as well?
Did they do the Haunted Mansion in Orlando?
They do not. Only at Disneyland. Yeah. I believe they do maybe a party-only lights and music overlay at Space Mountain for Christmas. I know they do it for Halloween. I'm not sure if they do it for Christmas. But, so all the ride overlays as well, you can see them anytime during the holiday season at the parks. But you could also do them during the party. And typically the wait times for attractions are lower during the parties, right, than they are typically during the day.
Well, I would not see it because I think I've aged out of Space Mountain. The last time we went, it was a little bit bumpy, and said this was like a young man's game. I don't know. It's a little the chiropractic adjustment just from the start. I don't remember it being like that. So it might have always been that way, and maybe I'm creakier now too. But
yeah, no, same here. I was born in the 80s, right? And I can barely say that, right? So no, and my son testing me out, right? That Space Mountain is usually one where when we go as a whole family, we don't ride or swap. I'm just like, I tell my husband, good, you go do that one. And he thinks for kids and he does it. He takes one for the team. But when I took my son in September, I was it. So I rode Space Mountain a couple times and I made it. But
you're a good mom. That's what that was the big thing about Guardians of the Galaxy is like, this is what Space Mountain needs to be. If they would rehaul that, it was so smooth. You spin and insert, you're going to like black hole. No spoilers, but that whole ride is just, you're not even on a ride. It's just
so
like,
smooth. Yeah.
And we did it the day after we did Space Mountain. It's essentially the same. You're supposed to be in space on a roller coaster. It could not have been more different. So,
yeah, I agree.
Well, so you have given me some things that I have never heard of before. So I'm excited about these tips. I saw something on your Instagram that I also didn't know that I think a lot of people would enjoy. These silhouette portraits.
Oh, yeah.
I have never, I mean, these things, and maybe it's just because you've been so often and you see these things or because you're a planner, but I've never seen that happen. I've never seen it go down, but it is the cutest idea, especially with several children to have a thing like that done. So,
yeah.
Can you walk me through what exactly that is? Because like I said, I've never seen that.
Yeah, sure. So there are silhouette stands. There are actually 2 at Magic Kingdom. There used to be one at Disney Springs. I'm not sure if that is still there. We've never used it at Disney Springs, but there are 2 locations at Magic Kingdom, and they are manned by cast members that are artists. They are paper cut artists or cut paper artists, right? And your kiddo sits down, or it can be an adult, anybody. I believe we have been in line behind someone who brought a picture of their pet. You can't. I know you can. And they brought a photo of their pet, and the cast member artist, cut a silhouette of their pet, and then you buy the frame there at the stand, and you have a silhouette of your family member, your friend, your pet. And it is a great souvenir. We ended up doing it all. Oh, no, I shouldn't say that. So my husband and I went on an adult-only trip, and we ended up taking our baby. So I guess it can't be called an adult-only trip. Our baby was pretty new. So I wasn't comfortable leaving her home. So last October, a year ago, my husband and I went, and the baby was only 6 months old, and we had the silhouette done of her at Magic Kingdom. So the 2 locations are right when you enter Magic Kingdom, right down Main Street as you're headed towards the castle. It's on a little offshoot street there to your right by the Arribas Brothers Crystal Arts area. So that's one. And then the other one is located where we had all our other 4 kiddos then. We had their silhouette done then on our family trip last January. And the other one is located further back in the park as you enter Liberty Square. So, right outside the Christmas shop. The Christmas shop is always there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The artist usually sits right there. And it is quick. The line does grow, but the artist can cut. It's so fun to even just watch the artists do their work. And they cut, and they're very quick. Probably all 4 of my older kiddos, when we had them done, 10 minutes a piece, if that.
Oh, that's great, because kids are not, well, mine anyway, not going to sit there much longer than that.
No,
that done, so.
I don't even think they sat there for more than 10 minutes, right? We had our 6-month-old baby do it, and she was fast, super fast.
All right, well, I just have a couple more things for you.
Sure.
Before I let you go, and I appreciate you taking the time because, like I said earlier, I see you on Instagram, a homeschool mother of 5 and Disney planner. I just can't imagine what your day looks like. And
it is very scheduled. I'll say that.
That's good. So I appreciate you setting this time aside. So
Sure.
I want to ask you what, and this is just because this is a personal thing for me. I saw you were at Epcot, and you said, listen to your favorite song at Disney. Your favorite Disney song is Rainbow Connection.
Yeah, I love Rainbow Connection.
Do you think they're going to get rid of Muppet Vision?
I know.
What do you think?
Okay, let's just say that when I went on my agent trip back in August, I went around the Muppet area at Hollywood Studios and took lots of selfies because however, I am going to hold tight that maybe they will put it back where Star Wars Launch Bay is.
Get it
Right.
out. Get it out.
Yep, I agree. That space could definitely be used better. And like I said, I'm an 80s kid. Well, really, I was when I really got into Disney and I was old enough to like really appreciate it and know it and watch all the movies was in the 90s. Regardless, Muppets is, 3D vision is my childhood. When I go in that theater, I'm like, I can't even believe my kids go in that theater with me. And I was younger than some of my kids' age when I would go in, right? The Muppets is my childhood. So I really hope they keep it. I don't know. I don't know though.
That new ride looks fun, but the same, I mean, I was born in 81 and Muppets were just a big part and they keep trying to bring them back. And for some reason it never does catch on, but that ride still, it's so good. And I mean, if they got rid of the rest of it, I mean, I love Pizza Rizzo's. We don't eat there, but we go in and, it has a good vibe upstairs. It's got a bunch of cool stuff.
It does.
But that launch bay, I don't understand its purpose.
No.
I mean, a meet and greet with Chewbacca is nice, but come on. If you're going to get rid of something, that's where I would move things to.
Yeah, I know. I agree. And, I always say I don't always understand what Disney does sometimes. I am not a planning engineer, right? I know nothing about any of that, but I do know the nostalgia I hold for Muppets, and I love it, and I hope it doesn't go by the wayside. I know.
It hurts me to even think about it. And that's one of the things that I'm like, we have to do it every time. We have to go, we make the most of it. And
I know.
Well, it would be sad to see it go. My daughter, she's 13, so the first time she went, her favorite ride is the Great Movie Ride, which is astounding to me.
Sure.
When she was like 4 and 5 years old going, and they put in that Minnie's Railroad, Minnie Mickey's Road, which is a great ride. She still kind of makes a face. It's no Great Movie Ride. I'm like, well, it's not, but you're such an old man to be a child.
Yes, us too. Me too. My 16-year-old, she is her mama's daughter for sure. She loves the Great Movie Ride. We all love Great Movie Ride. Let's just say we all have our tissues packed for January, even if we get to make it, because Dinosaur over at Animal Kingdom is also my childhood.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and we have kind of passed it. I know that is an attraction where you either love it or you hate it. My family loves it. We love the corniness of it. We love the audio as you ride through and the guy's yelling. The pre-show with Felicia Richard. I love Dinosaur, and we have passed that. My husband and I have passed that on to our kids. So now it's become like this big family joke. We can almost say all the audio during the ride. You're moving all around or getting jolted all around, and my kids are yelling, that's not our dino, go, 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 right? So we have kind of, we love that ride. So we have our tissues packed and ready, and we're ready to say goodbye to that one. So, yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I went on it for the first time last year. I had never been on
and
we tried to a year before, and we got to the loading area and it broke down. And we had to, and that is not a fun ride to go back up the stairs and people don't know what's going on. And, but we got free fast passes for the next thing then. But so last year was the first one, and this is a nice ride, but I understand you can't just keep that there and then carry the rest of Dinoland out. It doesn't make any sense.
Right. So, yeah, I totally get it.
So are you optimistic about the Encanto and all that stuff? Because you're very positive about all this. I like that. I like the energy. Because I've got one more question for you about it. So Encanto stuff, yes, all that area.
I think it's going to be good. It definitely needs done. Yeah, I think Dinoland USA can live as the memory in my childhood that it lives in the space in my Disney brain, right? But in real life, I think, it needs an overhaul for sure. Yeah.
And if nothing else, that seems a perfect place to have a perfect area that you could have a nostalgic T-shirt for.
Yeah.
Visited Dinoland.
My husband does. He had Yeah.
Well, I mean, they could sell them like once they tear it out, sell T-shirts and like I visited Dino Land, and it's like, oh, that was a cute old place, and it's not here anymore.
That's right.
All right, so there's one more controversial thing. What do you think about the Cars Land going in instead of the Tom Sawyer River ride? All that. What is your thought on that?
I know. So we walked through there, a group of agents and myself, right? The small group that I went with in August. And as we walked across towards Splash Mountain, it's just hard to envision that will all concrete over, right? That will not, it is totally changing the landscape and everything of that area back there of Magic Kingdom. I mean,
It is a bold move.
it is. And, people, you have to keep moving forward. And right, Walt always said that things will always be changing. Disney will never stay in one place. You always be moving forward. It is a big change. However, I've also heard lots of people say, which is, we are totally guilty, and it's totally true. Are there people that visit Tom Sawyer Island every time they visit Walt Disney World? Sure, there's a few of those people. But generally, when was the last time you went over to Tom Sawyer Island?
Well, so I'm going to skew this one. That's another. I mean, I bet when I was a kid, that seems like something my parents would have been all about to take me to when I was little. But I had not, as an adult, been there until 2 years ago, and we rode over there. This was amazing. Like, it was, because to me, like, I think that was what Disney, it was like a fun park, but it wasn't the shoulder to shoulder all the time crowd. And over there, it was like, this is actually kind of peaceful. It's nice. They've got the little fort and the little animatronic animals that are just, old animatronics, like a head moving or a tail swishing.
Yeah.
Anything too crazy. But you could take a lunch over there and just relax.
Yep.
And I think it was a really good kept secret that, you could go walk through this mine and then just sit. And someone was actually there, like asleep, sitting over there. Like, this is weird that you're away from, there's 100,000 people on the other side of this. And there's maybe 100 people over here. And now they tore it out. People were outraged. But like you said, okay, well, that's 0.01% of the people going every day. I mean, if anything.
That's exactly right.
I mean, and we love the riverboat. That was the thing to me. I didn't realize at first that river is going, right? It's all going on.
As far as I know, that originally at D23, that sounds like that was what was discussed. Yeah, that it's all they're going to dry it up and pave it all in. So,
see, to me, that's the big issue. Like I can understand getting rid of the Tom Sawyer Island, but that riverboat and all that seems to fit that area.
I agree.
And flow from, what is that place called? The city,
from
the town, like the town square, whatever.
Yeah, Liberty Square.
Yeah, Liberty Square. Over to Frontier. It seemed like such a part of the aesthetic, but I don't know how the Cars ride is going to fit in there. But
yeah, that's exactly right. No, I know it. If it doesn't go with the story, if Disney can't build the storyline, then that's where the disconnect happens. Especially with Disney people like us, that's what we know. That's what we hold on to, is the storyline or the storytelling, right?
Right.
And so if you can't tell the story and get people on board that way, then there's a disconnect. So not only does it change the landscape, but their hope is I hope they will integrate it story-wise, and that the theming and everything will sell it, and hopefully it will be all right.
Well, I think I might have broke you just a little bit, because everything was very positive, and even though you're smiling, you had a little bit of.
I know. Because I'm not going to lie, I just keep thinking. So, and I may make some enemies here with my thoughts, but I feel like Tiana's Bayou Adventure, they missed the storyline there. The storytelling aspect is not there. Is it there? Yeah. If you research, and you're a Disney adult and you watch, a million Instagram reels or TikToks about it, right? Yeah. Is there a story? Yes. Did Disney try and tell the story? I don't know. Right. I don't think it's developed for the general person who hops on that Splash Mountain or, Tiana's Bayou Adventure log, and journeys their way through. The story is hard to grasp. and it's hard to grasp how it is plopped there in the middle of Frontierland next to Big Thunder Mountain. Because I just don't think they developed the story well enough. So,
I mean, it's weird to have a bayou thing right there next to Big Thunder. It doesn't. And
Yeah.
I think when they started doing that, they were like, well, this will be a nice overlay, but I don't. So it's like they missed a step in the process. They made a nice ride and they did a good job. It seems like retheming it, but then in the big picture, it was just a little bit of Disney that they did not
I agree.
grasp. So
The ride is beautiful. The animatronics are amazing. The visual effects are amazing. The colors are so pretty, but they missed the story. I feel like it's just not developed enough as you go through. So yeah. So I hope that doesn't happen with Cars.
well, hopefully they listened and they will figure it out. I think sometimes they kind of put their toe out and go, let's see how the water feels if we float this out there. And then people,
Yeah.
oh, so Pitchforks came out. Well, put that on the back burner because everything else at D23 was, standing ovation. And that was mild at best.
That's true.
What are they doing? Oh, I don't know about that. So,
Yeah.
well, I appreciate you coming on here, especially with, the days you have your scheduled. And it's been a great time. And I will put all the information to contact you to reach out if anybody would like to have Chris plan their vacation. And please have somebody plan your vacation because, like I said, we've done it both ways and it's so much easier and so much more fun to not worry about anything but the good times and the magic you're having. So, Chris, thank you so much. I'll put it all in the description and I'll send you all the information when it launches. I think it should come out tomorrow. So,
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Paul.